for this chapter, we are going to discuss about human physiology, health, and reproduction. So this is, actually, most of the students can relate in this topic because they usually find this a bit more, they can relate more to this topic because they can actually see them and they can actually apply them. And I think that previously, most of the students that we have has already taken like a background, they already have a background knowledge or they have already foundation with usual organ systems. So just like what I've said a while ago, in human physiology, health, and reproduction, we are discussing about organ systems and how they are working all together as one system. So we need to discuss about structures, and within the structures, of course, the students they really need to know about the function of these structures. So more importantly, okay, once they have learned the importance of or the function of each organ, then they need to relate it on the totality of how the whole body is working. So if the students are already like done or they have already finished the course or this area on this topic, then they will be able to relate that certain activities or certain mechanisms are occurring in the body so that they're actually maintaining a certain condition, okay, for the whole organism to work. Okay, so first subtopic that is going to be discussed in human physiology is digestion. Of course, it's very important to make the student understand the importance of digestion. So the reason why there is digestion, because the only available way our body is capable of acquiring nutrients that can be used by our cells is through digestion. And of course, since the most available food sources that we have are occurring in large molecules, then they have to be broken down into simpler ones. So there are certain terms that can be a bit that can be used by that is available in IB books, but we have to simplify them to students as well. So in this case, I think it's still manageable. So in this area, okay, so since we have already taught how important digestion is, then we can now move on to the processes involved in nutrition. Okay, so in the case of nutrition, this is the process wherein, actually is a characteristic of living organisms, wherein an organism is acquiring necessary materials for it to be able to sustain life. Okay, so the processes involved in nutrition include ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and digestion. So we have to explain the differences between these processes. So the way we are actually teaching these processes is that once we have written down the structures, okay, let's just say, for example, once you have written down or identified the structures that are included in this organ system, then you have to the students need to identify their function, and then why is this structure, why is it conducive, or why is the structure giving a conducive condition for the function to occur. Okay, so one of the processes in nutrition involve chemical digestion. So under chemical digestion, we have to include as well, the importance of enzymes. Okay, so more specifically, digestive enzymes. So for both SL and HL students, in the core part, they're only required, okay, they're only required to learn 3 digestive enzymes. Okay, so namely amylase, protease, and lipase. So by identifying the enzymes that are involved in chemical digestion, we have to identify, or the students have to identify where are they being produced, what are the substrates that they are working on, the products of these enzymes right after they have been able to hydrolyze or to change the substrates, and what pH conditions they are conducive or they're working effectively. So in that manner, we have to include a matrix or a table. Okay, I think we would be able to further, the students will be able to further understand the importance of chemical digestion if we are able to like provide a matrix or a table for them. Okay. Matrix of digestive enzymes. Their sources, the substrates they work on, the products that they produce, and the optimal pH. Since students have already a background knowledge of what enzymes are, then they need to relate what they have learned in the enzymes topic in this area. Okay, so right after that, okay, it is also important that the students need to know how to draw the diagram, because it's one of the learning objectives that is being required by IB. So they need to make a diagram, and they need to know how to draw the whole digestive system, or the alimentary canal. So under the diagram, they need to know the structures, starting from the mouth and all the way down towards the anus. So, okay, so once identifying the structure, they have to identify, or labeling the structure, they have to identify the function of the structure. More importantly, the function of these organs, especially the stomach, small intestines, and large intestines. Okay, so I think the identifying or knowing the function of these three major organs is only applicable for SL students, but of course HO students need to learn more structure. Okay, so apart from that, okay, especially for HL students, they need to learn about the function, the structure and the function of the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas, because these three structures contribute to the chemical digestion, because they produce this this enzymes, this digestive enzymes. So, and once they have already learned the function of these organs, they have to relate this to the totality of how digestion is already working. So, next, okay, they need to know the difference, okay, between, or not really comparison, but just mere difference. Difference between absorption and assimilation. Usually, students get confused with these two terms, because absorption and assimilation, they both take in nutrients. The difference is that in absorption, we have to highlight that absorption, this is when nutrients is being taken from the small intestines going towards the blood capillaries or in the blood system, And assimilation is when the blood, whenever the nutrients has already been regulated in the liver, and then it's going to be present in the blood again for the transportation towards the tissues or the cells. Okay, so last but not the least, okay, having explained the importance of the small intestines, okay, then we should be able to explain the villus structure. Okay, so inside the inner lining of the small intestines, there are villi that are present. So these are the small projections that are present inside the lining of the small intestine, which makes it, which increases the surface area for an efficient absorption of nutrients. So we have to highlight certain words for this area because actually it's considered as a mark in IB in exams. So instead of just like increasing surface area, so we had to relate why it increases the surface area in its relation to the function. So increases surface area for efficient nutrient absorption. Okay, so there are certain structures still present in the villus, and we have to dissect each and every structure. For example, we have the epithelium of the villus contains microvilli. The microvilli is actually further increasing the surface area. Apart from that, the epithelium contains membrane proteins. The membrane of the epithelium, is containing membrane proteins. So they are actually facilitating active transport or facilitated diffusion for the absorption of nutrients. So actually that area, is actually being discussed further in the option. One of the options, which is option H, which is only applicable for HL students. So yeah, so you just need to explain how the structure is related to its function, how it is adapted to its function.